All right, we have now officially begun the meeting. All right, so the first role that we have is that of video master. Today, I am our video master, in addition to being our Toastmaster, which means I will be recording the meeting. If anybody does not want to be recorded, please let me know, and I will try to figure out how to turn this thing off briefly while you are talking, and then we'll go to recording again. The videos will hopefully be uploaded to YouTube. I can figure out how to do that later, but no promises at this point. Meanwhile, let's move on to the next part of the session, which is filling in roles. So as I mentioned today, I will be video master. We do need a general evaluator. And so Waming, can I maybe push you into being general evaluator, please?
I could, Gautam could do it, but I could do it, yes.
Okay, well, that's true. And we have Jose coming in. All right. So Gautam, would you like to possibly be a general evaluator for today?
Yeah, sure, that will work. Even I
Okay,
can take any other roles.
great. So Gautam, you'll be doing our general evaluation, and hopefully I need to do this better. Okay, Gautam, your general evaluator. Our current evaluators consist of myself for evaluating Elvira, who hopefully will be joining soon. Oh, yes, we do have Elvira. So we do have all of our speakers. Currently, at the moment, I am evaluating Elvira, who shall be joining us briefly, hopefully. Waming, you are...
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Okay, so the evaluators seem a little bit messed up because you are
Well,
speaking
speaker number
twice.
2, yeah, so,
Okay, yeah.
so I could switch with Elvira if that works, or some
Or,
other way.
let's see, Gautam, could you be maybe an evaluator? Wait, what do we have? We have quite a few evaluators that are also speaking, which is very strange. Sorry, we got this little thing straightened out.
Maybe Zena and Gautam could be evaluators.
Yeah.
If they want to.
Zaina, how do you feel about being both table topics person and an evaluator? We'll give her a second to think about that. Gautam, how do you feel about being both general evaluator and an evaluator?
I can be an evaluator, maybe if someone can take the general evaluator role.
I'm asking if you could be general evaluator and evaluator.
Okay, no worries. If you don't
Okay.
find anyone, I'll take it.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so let's see. Maybe put, Gautam, would you like to be the second evaluator for Waming?
Okay, so I'll be evaluating 2 person today.
No, you'll be evaluating Waming.
Uh-huh.
General evaluator, you evaluate the meeting at the end.
Okay,
You call them
sounds
all.
good. Sure.
Good. Great. Okay. All right. And Zaina, do you want to possibly fill in as an evaluator? Maybe she's not quite listening yet. Okay. All right, because right now we have Elvira speaking, and you also giving an evaluation for Jose. For the moment, we'll just go with that because I don't have another backup person for that. So we'll just go with that, okay? So Elvira, at the moment, you will be speaking first, and you will be evaluating Jose, our third speaker. Great. All right. And we do have some additional roles as well. We have a ballot counter, which I will be ballot counter today. So at the end of the meeting, toward the end of the meeting, I will send out a link. You guys will then respond to the link, filling it out, and I will then give our results to our acting president at the end to say who was the best or most improved speaker, evaluator, and table topics person. Okay, we need an awe counter. Does anybody would like to be awe counter? Jose, odd counter. Great. Can you describe the role of odd counter, please?
Yes, good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I will be a counter this morning, and my role is to count how many ahs or any extraneous words that you shouldn't be adding to your speech that detracts from your speech. I'll be reporting at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. We also need a word master. And
I could be word master.
Waming, word master. Great. Can you describe the role of word master, please?
Yes, Miss Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, my role is to provide a word, and I'm gonna come up with a word, and then I would ask that everyone use the word when you speak, and I will record whether you use the word or not at the end of the meeting. So today's word is unlocked. It's the first word I see. Unlocked. I'll put it into the chat. It means open. It means it's not locked. And so we're going to use the word unlocked. We are unlocked in terms of how we approach this in providing a word, Ms. Toastmaster.
Great.
Please use
All
that
right.
word.
All right. And Waming, you're also our timer for today. Can you describe the role of timer?
Yes, Ms. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, my function timer is to run this clock in one of the Greek views, and I'm going to record everyone's time. I am assuming, I would like to confirm that everyone is speaking 5 to 7 minutes. So at 5 minutes, the green light will come on, 6 minutes, yellow, and at 7, the red. And the speaker 30 seconds to finish. Evaluation 2 to 3 minutes, table topics 1 to 2 minutes. And I'll report the time at the end of the meeting. Ms. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. It's a good point. So I know that Elvira has confirmed that her speech is going to be 7 minutes. I assume, Waming, that yours is 7 as well. Jose, is your speech going to be 7 minutes long?
Yes, 5 to 7 minutes. Yes.
Great, thank you. All right. We need the role of grammarian done as well. Any volunteers for grammarian? I can be grammarian then. So as a grammarian, I will be listening to our uses of the English language, looking for areas that I thought were quite excellent, and maybe areas in which we could be improving. I will give a review of our results at the end of the meeting. And last but not least, we need a joke master for today. Would anyone like to practice their joke telling today? All right, well, maybe we'll either skip the joke master for today, or maybe someone will come up with a joke during the meeting. Meanwhile, let's see. I believe that's all the roles. Everything is signed up. So looking at today's agenda, I realized that I should have started off with our introduction, our invocation. So I will give a very quick invocation. Today, our meeting theme is opening up. I thought it'd be a good theme to have because things are opening up in the Bay Area. Also, you could turn it around so that opening up actually refers to talking with more people, getting more information from others, not being so closed off. So depending upon how you translate it, it could be just something that's to do with having the lockdown, and it could just mean just being more open and receptive to people and things and opportunities around you. So with that, I will now officially open our meeting. And we do have Hannah, who just joined us. Hannah, we are looking for a joke master today. Would you be interested in the role?
I do not have any jokes
Okay.
that I can think of, but I can look one up. if needed.
Okay, sounds good. Meanwhile, let's see. With respect to roles, what do we have? Hold on just 1 second. Let's see if we have anything that's kind of over subscribed, you might say. Okay, sorry, just real quick. Let's see. Well,
Evaluation.
yeah, I was thinking
Evaluation.
about that evaluation. Elvira is currently signed up to give the third evaluation for Jose. Would you like to be an evaluator for Jose today instead? Anna?
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure who you're referring to. Yeah, I can do
Oh,
that.
sorry. Yeah. So if you could evaluate our third speaker, Jose, that would be excellent. All right. And more importantly, let's Elvira focus on her first ever speech that she's giving to the club today. Let's see. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. With that, it is now time to turn to our speech portion, so our pre-prepared speeches. We have a new member giving her first speech in this club, although she's a member of other Toastmasters, so she's done quite a few speeches before. Today, she will be giving a speech from the Inspire Your Audience Level 3 project of Effective Coaching's Pathway. It is 5 to 7 minutes long, and the title is My Best Cure for Stress. Please welcome Elvira.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Everybody has experienced stress in their life. It's kind of our norm, isn't it? But how do we normally cope with the stress? For instance, I can name my ways. It could be a glass of wine after a long day, a hard day, or going to the gym and do some exercise. Also, it could be a comfort food like a piece of cake or delicious food and other delicious food. But over time, I found out that running actually one of the most sustainable stress relieving recipes for me. Interestingly enough, when I began running about 10 years ago, I was pursuing a weight losing goal. I have never been overweight. My body mass index was always within normal range. But 10 years ago, I was a victim of a great social and, in fact, cultural pressure to have a lower weight than norms tell us. And I decided that running could help me to achieve my goal in losing weight. I didn't notice. But back then, there was no consistency in running. So I could go for a run for 1 week and then drop it. It was on and off running. And it lasted like for 3 or 4 years. I didn't notice any weight loss. However, I noticed that I felt much better after running. My mood was boosting and life seemed much brighter after I came from running. About 6 years ago, when I moved to New Zealand, and there was such a great push out of my comfort zone, because when you're out of your comfort zone in a foreign country with pretty much basic English as a third language, and also you need to keep up with your studies and hand in all the papers in time, all that meant that you are exposed to a lot of stress. I realized that I had to do something with it and find a way to fight my stresses I face in my life. And running fit the best for that goal. And running as a stress relieving practice was born. I made it a habit. I could go for running from 3 to 7 times a week for about 50 minutes each long. Then I extended this practice to every place I was living in and traveling to. First thing, when I arrived to a new place, I would learn the map of the neighborhood and find the running route without stopping for traffic lights or other obstacles. I have been running every day regardless of the weather. In the blazing hot sun along the beach full of sand in Florida, or in the pouring rain weather. It was everywhere, it was any place. In Texas as well, even with thunder. And also even icy weather didn't stop me from running, although it was a bit hazardous for me. So downside of the habit is that my sneakers are worn for a much shorter period of time. I feel quite uncomfortable when I cannot run, like when you cannot brush your teeth, for instance. That's exactly the same feeling I experience when I cannot run for different reasons, because I might have a flight that day, or some other arrangements in the morning when I normally run. So I want to say that actually I fulfilled my dream eventually. I did lose weight from 152 pounds to 138 pounds, but it happened mostly due to a diet, not running. And I found out, in fact, that physical exercise is not actually really helpful in losing weight, but they boost mood. Now I know that moderate physical exercise, especially those which make you slightly out of breath, up to 20 to 30 minutes a day, can not only mood boosters, they help to strengthen your immunity, help you to strengthen your cognitive functions, boost your memory, and also overall promote longevity. So this great practice is part of my life now. And one thing I would suggest to everyone, find out their own physical activity which can help them to brighten their mood as well. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Great. Thank you very much. We can just get 1 minute for people to provide some feedback to Elvira on her speech.
What is that? What is that? No touching that.
Okay, maybe just a few more seconds to finish up your feedback to Elvira. And this will give our next speaker, Wan Ming, a chance to get all set up. Okay. Please help me welcome our next speaker, Wan Ming, who is going to be giving us a 5 to 7 minute talk titled Mastery Journey.
Thank you, Ms. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I'm going to talk about this particular topic for the next 5 to 7 minutes. A master is someone who is an expert, but who has forged new paths, new ways of doing things, created new things. And to become a master is a journey. So I'm going to talk about a story, and then a way of looking at it, some idea why you might want to try to become a master, and a suggestion at the end. So the story starts with this lady named Jennifer Doudna. When she was in the 6th grade, her father gave her a book, The Double Helix, and in there she read about a master, Rosalind Franklin, who was a master experiment to help James Watson and his colleague to find the double helix in the DNA. And she was inspired because a woman master was able to achieve something great. And she was encouraged over time, and she eventually got to Pomona College to study biochemistry. The first year, though, on chemistry was really hard. And the second year, she decided to change her major to French. Somehow her French teacher convinced her to stay with chemistry. Maybe her French wasn't that good, not sure. In any case, she got her degree, moved forward to Harvard, studied under a guy named Sotek, who eventually got a Nobel Prize, and then intentionally applied to go to Boulder, Colorado, to work under a guy named Sech, who has a Nobel Prize. So she learned from the masters. She intentionally learned from the masters. And then eventually she taught and researched at Yale, Harvard, and eventually Berkeley. In 2009, she got an offer at Genentech, moved to Genentech, moved into the industry from research. But within that time, within a very short time, someone named Julian Banfield in some other department at Berkeley found her and told her about something called CRISPR, something new. And she immediately found a way to quit her job at Genentech, went back to Berkeley and spent her time on studying this thing called CRISPR, and collaborated with a lady named Emmanuelle Charpentier in 2011, and they figured out what CRISPR-Cas9 is, and how one could use that to modify DNA. So you can actually modify DNA, insert new DNA into a human cell, and then turn that into something else. And last year, both of them got the Nobel Prize. She had became a master in that journal. So the point is, mastery is a journey. It's not a one-time thing. And the key thing to achieving mastery is time. You just need to spend a lot of time and effort. You cannot just waste the time. You have to spend the effort. And so this guy named Jerome de Flandre came up with this chart, which I think is reasonable. We're looking at it for any skill or whether it's public speaking or science research or music or whatever area that you want to develop skills in. There's the phase of a novice where you just start trying. And then there's lots of difficulty initially. And a lot of people dropped out. But other people who move forward became amateurs, and they stay that way and don't move forward, learn more stuff, they would plateau and be an amateur. And to some extent, I'm still an amateur speaker, public speaker, because certainly there are a lot more better expert speakers out there. And public speaking is something that requires lots of time to develop skills in, at least for me. Eventually, if you spend enough time and effort, you can become an expert. And you can, and in many areas, not all areas, if you're an expert in something, you can get paid a lot for that. The one area that's interesting is technology. If you're an expert in some technology, you might get paid a lot today, but tomorrow it might not be. So being an expert in technology, you have to continue to learn new stuff. But if you just stay being an expert, that's one thing. But if you continue to learn new things, because the world always changes and there's so many new things to learn, and continue to discover new things, then you're on the journey of becoming a master. So that's the idea. So, and you don't have to start early. Like Jennifer Doudna, when she was in 6th grade, sometimes you could be in your middle ages and you can still try to be a master over time. So why do you want to do it? Well, part of it is it increases chances of success. It certainly doesn't guarantee it, but it increases it. And also, if you become a master, like many of the people I'm going to mention briefly, you can help build up human society, make progress. And this is one way to find meaning in life. Why you're living for 100 years or whatever, this is one way of doing it. So to be a master, you have to learn from masters. And certainly there are lots of past masters. The good thing nowadays, compared to 100, 200 or a century ago, is we have access to information. We have access to the internet. So you can find out about these guys just off the internet. And there are lots of them. You'll find that they are everywhere. Here, the people are in business and technology and science, but there are many other ones in arts and many other fields. And there are living ones too. The living ones are the interesting ones because you could potentially work with them and learn from them. Now, they're hard to get to. So, if you're younger, it's easier to get to them. But certainly, there are lots of living masters you can learn from. So the point is to become a master, and I don't want to belabor this, you have to learn from masters because that's the best use of your time, rather than why just learn from someone who's so-so. Learn from masters by reading about them, by getting close to them. Miss Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Huaming. If everyone could take 1 minute to give some feedback via chat to Huaming on his speech. Okay. While we have Jose start setting up for his speech. Okay. All right. So we should be finishing up our feedback to Huaming. Meanwhile, Jose will be speaking and he will be evaluated today by Hannah. So Jose, assuming you're ready to get going. Your speech today is to be 5 to 7 minutes long, and the speech title is Emotional Well-Being.
Thank you, Georgie, Toastmaster. Yes, my speech for today is an emotional well-being. It's part part four of my ongoing series on well-being and meditation. There was a question asked before, why is it that I'm into this topic? And this is a good topic to mention why I picked, and I was very, very interested in researching persons a person's well-being and how to develop it. When I was in high school and I was going to college, I was very, very stressed out. And I didn't know if I could make it because I'm not focused. And I had a hard time studying. I always procrastinated a lot. I had one of those teen problems. And so I researched. I started researching, learning how to study. But I came upon this book about hypnosis. I tried it once and it worked. So I was very relieved. But the problem was it doesn't last. And that posed me a question. If there's such a thing called psychology and there's such a thing called meditation and hypnosis, then how come those things don't address the issues of the world, right? All the emotional problems of the world, such as anger, addiction, wars. We still hate each other. We still disorganized. Why is it none of that's being addressed by the current technology? And so my research started that way into a person's well-being. And so this is my take on it. This speech will be my take on what I found. This seems to be what's working, and not just for my research. Also, I did a few clients already. It seems to be this is the way this is the way the human mind works, and I'll share it with you. So a couple of simple references is Hypnosis for Beginners. A few good scripts in it. You'll find a few good pointers in it. And Tame Your Gremlin by Rick Carson is the concept of gremlin. And I thought that go through all the readings I've done, the concept of having understanding gremlins is very important. And I found these two books to be basic but very important. So, in approach to emotional control, my approach is more into cognitive behavioral therapy method, but in a different way. I My approach is more encompassing, it's more active. So I follow an acronym. I always do. All my presentations follow an acronym. In this case, it's POD. So if you have an emotional problem, think about having to go inside an escape pod, which is kind of what I'm trying to em- uh, emphasize, anyways. First of all, it's having a positivity all over all throughout your life, to observe the effect of your environment, and to deflect. Always have an action item to deflect away from situations that gets you in trouble. So let's start with positive self-talk. In positive self-talk, think about being positive, starting with their inner monologue, right? We all have our inner monologue. We all have contradictory views of how we should do things. Start with being positive first. You can do it by having a script, organizing your things, even little posters here and there, removing clutter, improving your self image, having roles, right? People that you can use to be a role model. Use that. Again, control the environment. Understand what happens when you are in certain situations. And that goes down to observing your inner thoughts. It's called the gremlin. You must have a counter argument, not so much an argument, but count a reasonable analysis of a certain situation based on facts and respond logically. Because if you let a gremlin go, it will take you. It'll lead you in like a little leash. It'll lead you in the wrong path in your life. So observe what's going on inside of you, and then deflect. Once you've observed it and you saw it's creating you problems, then you must deflect. You must have a list of things that you want to do instead. For example, if you eat too much when you watch TV, then have a squeeze toy instead to deflect away from unreasonable, excessive behaviors. And that's the major thing. Know how to see what's going on, be positive first, see what's going on, and deflect to something else. And again, it takes a lot of skills and pre-planning, but you can do it. So in summary, avoiding negative situations is very, very helpful. Guard your thoughts and your responses to it. Assert your identity. Again, I had several topics of uh, emotional well-being, and the idea behind that is to create a full and very strong self-identity, and that's my major thrust whenever I work with people. And if you're able to do that, then you will have that strong will, and that will is developed. And when you do encounter problems, your first reaction would be, this is not me, this is not my core beliefs, and this will not happen. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Jose. If everyone would take a minute to send Jose some feedback. Maybe just a few more seconds to send feedback to Jose. All right. Our next part of the meeting is the more difficult one in some ways, in that we get to practice our quick responses to questions in our table topic section. Today's table topic master is Zaina, who will be hopefully asking us some very intriguing questions today. And just to remind everyone that our word of the day is unlocked.
Are we doing evaluation at the end?
Oh, are we doing, oh, did I get them mixed up again? Hold on. I'm always getting things mixed up. You're right. I'm sorry. I thought I screwed up. So we're going to do evaluations right now instead. So if I could please ask the general evaluator, Gautam, to start off the evaluation portion of the meeting, please.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
And thank you, Wang Ming.
Right. So let me call upon our evaluator for our speakers to evaluate the speech, how well they have done, on any recommendations on their speech and improvement. Okay, so we have our first evaluator, Georgie, who will be evaluating Elvira. Let's welcome Georgie.
Okay. Thank you very much. And most importantly, thank you, Elvira, for giving us that wonderful speech. This is your first speech for our club, but I know that you have spoken before. So you can kind of tell that you're an old hand at speaking. You're very comfortable doing it. You can see that you actually seem like you really enjoy speaking, so you don't seem nervous, and you don't seem that you have issues with speaking, with the actual doing of it. So you're able to kind of take the bull by the horns. I thought you started off with a really good intro. You talked about how everyone kind of experiences stress and different ways we can manage it. And you came up with the idea in your case of doing exercise, specifically running. What I thought was really good was that you had a very good speed when you were speaking. You focused very strongly on vocal pronunciations so that we could understand the words, which especially going through the Zoom format is really important and can be a bit difficult. You also stressed how you talked about how you managed your running, that you started off initially talking about doing it for exercise purposes. You mentioned how you actually lost quite a bit of weight, and then you said how it really didn't have that much to do really with the exercise. The exercise was more for mood enhancing, and you found like a shortcut to get around that using basically just 20 minutes of moderate exercise, which is all good. You also talked about how you pushed yourself with respect to your running, how you made certain you were prepared with having a map done in advance, make sure you know obstacles, all that great thing. That I thought also you made an interesting comparison between the idea of not running and not brushing your teeth, how it feels uncomfortable, how you can get through your day, but it just feels like something is missing. I thought that was a really good comparison that you did. Very, very good way of helping us to reiterate with what you're doing. The only one thing I wish that you had really talked about, and this is just my own kind of personal thing, it'd been interesting if you had talked about like how much you ran, and I'm guessing you improved over time, and how, you know, you talked about how you improved with your weight, but you didn't talk about how you actually improve with the running, which I would have just liked to know from my own personal thing. Now, if I was, I really liked how you talked about, you know, fulfilling your dreams and making that. But what I think might have made things a little bit better is I thought you did all the production values of the video aspect. Your facial features were well lit and we could hear you quite well. But I think one of the things that you could improve might be your eye contact. It can be really hard with this format, I know, but maybe it looked like you were kind of reading notes off to the one side. Maybe if you could maybe like put them more directly under the camera when you're reading, that might make it appear that you're reading or maybe maybe a separate monitor to look from. I'm not really sure with the format. But anyway, other than that, I thought you did a really good job, and especially since your first meeting here, really looking forward to your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgie, for evaluating Alvera. So our next speaker was Weiming, and Weiming will be evaluated by myself. All right. Thank you, Weiming, for the great speech. I always like motivated, or like your speeches come up with a unique research. I would like to learn from that. So I really like your topic today. That's a master journey. You started with a very good introduction of your why this is, why you chose this topic, and your organization of the slides is very great. You have like no bullet points, variation in slides. The topic is like just one point. The graph or the chronological order of the person's growth from 6 years to where are they right now, and you selected the folks that we can learn from those masters and the folks who are all currently doing like being a masters. So it's like very neat slides. um, you started with your personal perspective, and that you added more stories and topic selections about each person, and you have very good eye contact. I really like that. And however, your gestures were missed, or I would say like there were no gestures. Like even if you used, like if you look at the video, there are no gestures, and you had hold your mic in one hand, and you are like trying to use your gestures like someone is tied, someone is like tied you, and you want to unlock yourself. So I would say that okay, remove the holding the mic, and you can just use naturally, like you can stand up and you can communicate very well, because the topic was like really great. It was very sound, and I was curious to know what's next. So when we have that kind of curiosity with the audience, i would I would expect a speaker to be interact naturally, and that would be like more sound, and more that will increase more affinity towards the speech, and also the audience would be more attracted towards what you're saying. So overall, it was a very good speech. I can see that the vocal variety was great, but there were some your pitches were not high. So in that case, I would say like when you make it more natural, it would come naturally, like your pitches will vary. So I would like to challenge that, not holding a mic, and just be natural, and just give your speech. So overall, it was a great, and I'm very excited about hearing the story, and I'm gonna see all those folks today, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Thank you, Amy. Right. So we have our third speaker, Jose, and Jose will be evaluated by Hannah. Let's welcome Hannah.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, and thank you, Jose, for delivering a speech on a highly relevant topic, especially talking about stress and identity. You talked about emotional well-being with the subtitle, and your content overall, I think you had a lot of content, which I think was good as well. I know you said it was part 4 of the speech, so I wasn't too sure what other topics you had covered before, but I felt like they were all, a lot of stuff was jam-packed in this one, but not to say that the slides were not clean. A lot of your bullet points were very simple. And a lot of your slides were also very simple and creative as well. So the black and white contrast, I did like that. You did start out with a personal history, kind of like a draw of what got you interested in this topic and historically how it had personally impacted your own life. So I did also like that in the why. You did cover why you were talking about this speech. You offered a broad worldly question, especially about societal problems. And why this topic is relevant to society and also the world. So I did also like that as well. That kind of brought in the audience. It had the buy-in in the beginning of your speech. You did flip through some of the slides pretty quickly in the beginning, especially with the books. I felt like you covered 2 books very quickly, and then maybe there could have been a little bit more expansion on those. in the POD acronym as well, you did cover like positive self-talk, observing, deflecting, and you did cover deflecting towards the end. I did like this topic about truth versus lies. I feel like our mind tells ourselves lies about ourselves all the time, right? About our, that's the biggest way the mind gives. I believe that, but like I think we're always telling ourselves lies about ourselves, which is something that I think you can also cover maybe in a future speech, talking about mindfulness as well. Overall, I would say like you had simple slides, simple bullet points. You had a lot of content in the speech, so I felt like maybe you can even break it out. So maybe one slide can even have a spin-off presentation where you can go deeper into the topic. In terms of your speech delivery and your tone, you had a really mild tone. There were some places where I did see some excitement in your topic and your delivery, Jose. I would say in terms of the pauses, be a little more intentional. It's something I can do better, as well as be more intentional in where I pause in my speech. But sometimes when you in your delivery, it seems like you're overthinking. So in my opinion, I'd rather somebody come off as passionate and confident without overthinking about their topic. And even if they butcher it and even if they mess it up, at least it won't lose confidence. So sometimes if we're overthinking, the confidence level goes down, not only within our audience, but at our delivery. So I'd rather than that, rather come out authentic about how much, especially as you're knowledgeable about your topic, there's no doubt about that with the audience that you're not knowledgeable about it. So I would say be a little more intentional about your pauses, something I could get better as well. But overall, Jose, appreciate your speech today. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah, for the evaluation. Right, so that's all about our evaluation today, and I'm going to hand over it to our Toastmaster of the day, Georgie. Let's give it to Georgie.
Hey, thank you very much, Gautam. Great job. And with that, we will now turn to the table topics portion. And just to remind everybody before we do, our word of the day is unlocked. So try to use that if possible within your response today. Our table topics master is Zaina. Zaina, go ahead and take it away.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I'm excited to be here. So my table topic question for today has sprung up as I have been really thinking about all of the different things I'm looking to get out of Toastmasters, what I am getting out of Toastmasters, and it made me curious as to what kinds of things that you're looking for. So inside of your answer today, I'm interested to know what kinds of things are you looking to improve on? What kinds of things do you think you have improved on in the last year? And what's the best piece of advice you've gotten for Toastmasters with regards to your speaking ability? You can answer all three of those or one of those, but that's what I'm most interested in. And I think it's useful and productive for all of us to unlock those answers in each other so that we can give good feedback and we can receive the kinds of feedback that we're looking for in the future. Does anybody want to start? Wai Ning.
Okay, well, so Toastmasters. I've been doing Toastmaster longer than maybe some of you live in the life. So, however, it's taking me a long time, and I'm still so at it because I'm not naturally a good speaker, and I don't like to speak that much. In any case, I come here to try to practice, and in the last 2 years, I've been trying to do this. Initially, I did a speech every other week or every month. And then eventually I tried to get to once a week if there's an opportunity. I will continue to do that. And I found that that could be very useful. And I encourage everyone to do it because the more you do it, the easier it gets. That's the point. And in terms, the most difficult thing I had in terms of giving speeches is what topic am I going to talk about? Well, the more I do it, the more I found, because every time I talk about something, I found something else I can talk about. I can start the process, and I would encourage you to do that. In terms of delivery, the whole thing with delivery is just a matter of practice. And I found that the more I speak, the easier it gets. So the ultimate thing, at least for public speaking anyway, the skills development is in spending time and essentially doing it. Because this is something that's repeatable, that is fairly predictable in terms of how you produce it. So it's do it as often as you can, and do it in this club, do it other clubs, do it other situations, do it on YouTube, whatever that makes sense. Miss Toastmaster, and this is the way to unlock your capabilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that story about why you're here and how you got here. Anybody else want to tell us about perhaps a piece of feedback they've gotten that's been fantastic, feedback that they're looking for, or a skill they're trying to build?
I'll take one.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, let's go Gautam and then Jose.
Okay. So I came across a story last Olympic. There was a person who is a sprint runner from Jamaica. He won the third place, bronze. The story was he learned the tricks and nuances by looking at other runners in the YouTube videos. He was trained by himself looking at the videos. So that made me really got a spark in my mind. Okay, if someone can learn from others through YouTube videos, why I cannot? That too, a person who achieved through Olympic. I was so fascinated by hearing that story, and he gave that. I learned these tricks and nuances through YouTube videos. I would highly encourage everyone to watch that. Then that is the moment I decided, okay, even I didn't know that I can learn from YouTube videos. When I hear that, I felt, okay, yeah, I can learn from YouTube videos. Why I didn't think that? I thought YouTube videos just for fun. I can watch some videos and make myself laugh, or I can just know from about the news and other things. But I didn't know that YouTube videos are one of the sources that I can use it to learn myself or to improve myself. So I started learning. For example, I started learning tennis. And I started like, I need to improve my public speaking. So I watched all the TEDx speech. I tried to simulate, maybe I can mock myself. Like I am the TEDx speaker. I literally copy all the slides and the speech. I rehearse myself. So with these techniques, I see so far it's been helpful. Then I decided I want to join some Toastmasters club so that I can practice very well. So I joined here. So YouTube videos, try it out and see if it helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam. What a fun and fascinating secret to have unlocked. All right, Jose.
Okay, I've been with Toastmasters for what, 3 years now, and I noticed there's a growth pattern when I joined Toastmasters. When I first joined Toastmasters, it was just I just like to learn how to speak. But I noticed the process, something grows within you. First is just showing up. Next will be just remembering what to say. Next would be just adding gestures in your presentation. And then later on, there's something else that happens. There's a filler because you're so engrossed in making your next speech. There's a filler in your time. There's moments in time where you're just waiting for uh, food, or you're waiting in a restaurant somewhere and you're thinking about your speech. That in itself is part of your growth. So I noticed that it also encompasses your even subtle dull moments in your life is being filled in by your next speech. So that's very interesting effect to being part of Toastmasters. And so it kind of unlocks your mind whenever you when you do your speeches. So that's a very good benefit, and I liked it. Yes, and you get better later on. Yes, because of that. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jose. Who's interested next? My girls? Yes, Georgie.
Hey, so my path to Toastmasters is similar to Wah Ming's. I've been doing it for a while, and I've been kind of doing it off and on when I can. I think for me, what I like to do is I kind of like what Jose said. You start out kind of doing simply just focusing on the speech and simply just trying to get the words out of your mouth properly. And then you sort of build onto it. You might say you pyramid additional skills on top of it. So as you get more comfortable giving speeches, and I find that if it's really important for me to give speeches continuously, kind of like I make the comparison to going to the gym or exercising regularly. You might think that you can just stop speaking and then come back to it later, and maybe you can, but I find that I need to keep continually practicing. Otherwise, when I come back, I'm so rusty, it just feels really awkward to try to speak again. And then on top of that, I try to use, especially this club, but Toastmasters in general, to expand other areas of my life. For example, I started to help other clubs with coaching, and I also am an officer in this club. I started, in my case, with the VP of Public Relations as our goal. And as I like to point out to people, there is a lot of people who make their money doing social media marketing for companies. And if you are interested in getting more knowledgeable about social media, you can use this platform to learn more about it. So in other words, you can make mistakes with this club's public relations platform without screwing up your own social media platform. This is a great place to practice new skills. Like, for example, I recently helped try to organize a online watch party, which was new for me. So once again, you can take this and kind of run with it and expand on it in all sorts of different ways you might not have initially thought about. Think about what you want to achieve and just figure out a way to try to make it work here. And I think you'll be able to unlock a lot of potential possibilities for yourself. Back to you.
Thank you, Georgie. I hadn't thought about practicing marketing skills or organizational skills as a skill you could learn from Toastmasters. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's fascinating. Elvira, Hannah? Elvira looks like she was ready. Okay, good.
Okay. Well, my first experience with Toastmasters began about 15 years ago, I guess. And I felt enormous shame actually when I first came to Toastmasters, because I thought that I was good enough for Toastmasters. Actually, I think I was good enough, but at that moment when I saw all the Toastmasters, the way they delivered their speech, their fluency in English, I thought, wow, I would never achieve this ever. And just run away from the room of the Toastmasters, and came back only like 10 years ago, something. No, a bit less. 5 in New Zealand, actually. That was the first experience of the second experience of Toastmasters, and then I realized step by step that actually it's buildable skill. It's not like, wow, it's so unachievable when you see someone so such a great master, like we can see now, the famous speakers, and compared to them, I feel like, wow, I'm so far away from any master at all. But remembering this experience, when I first came to Toastmasters, I am pushing myself to do this step, like Jose mentioned, and also Georgia, you need to make those steps, the small steps, just practice, and eventually you will become the master in this field. Thank you. Back to you, Zena.
Thank you, Elvira. I think you're doing fantastic, by the way. Hannah?
Thank you, Ms. Table Topics Master. I would say my first actual interaction with Toastmasters was actually at UC Santa Cruz. When I was in an undergraduate program in the accounting department, my professor, Robert Shepard, was the head of the Toastmasters Club. So I, of course, joined and thought, okay, this is a great opportunity. I was already a social networker at the university. So in my undergrad, I was always into social networking anyways, but I thought I would refine my communication skills. Of course, in this club, there's a lot of people that were vibrant. They're already master speakers, and I was the fly on the wall. So I barely made any speeches. I kind of just listened to people making speeches all the time. it wasn't until I was reintroduced to Toastmasters through, I think it was Charles, or I don't remember who it was that I met that had reintroduced me to going to this Toastmasters club. And I thought, why not? One of the things I did appreciate is this is more of a learning environment, right? We're all kind of learning together. And even though we're working towards mastery, one of the things I personally want to work on is just becoming a better speaker in my own natural ability. So everyone's a little bit different. Some speakers are natural storytellers, and some people are deliver more of a TED Talk where it's more educational. And for me, I'm more of a passionate speaker, and I have seen other speakers like myself. So for me, I want to get more clarity in my delivery. So I want to be clear. And there are speakers I have heard. I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago. One of the speakers, Blanca Orloff, she's super vibrant, super passionate. She's a Latina and she speaks like 4 other languages. And she's like, you know what? You're not slow. I'm not fast. You're too slow. You're slow. And I was like, oh man, that reminds me of me speaking 3 or 4 different languages. So I just want to enhance my natural ability. And I feel like everybody has their natural talents in speaking. And I think this is a great club just to learn and just grow together. So I think part of unlocking some of your talents is just committing to growing and evolving yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hannah. That's really great, actionable feedback for us. That's something we can help you out with as people giving evaluations. So thank you for letting us know. That's what you're working on. I think that's everybody. So I'm going to pass it back to our Toastmaster.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we are maybe running slightly low on time, but maybe Zaina, would you like to take the question?
Sure. So particularly at Toastmasters, I'm interested in a couple of different skills. I'm working on integrating humor inside of my speeches. I'm not a naturally funny person. It's not a skill that I really have. And so it's something that I think could make me a lot more relatable on stage. And so that's something I'm really working on. And so any feedback about whether my jokes are or are not landing would be fantastic. It's particularly difficult to tell over Zoom whether or not something landed. Another skill that I'm really working on is I move my hands everywhere all the time. And although they generally go along with what I'm saying, they move continuously. So finding the ability to hold stillness inside of my hands is a skill that I'm really working on and trying to stay focused on. I think the last big skill, since I have a limited capacity for focusing on skills all at once, my last big skill is working on really having strong thematic ties all the way through my speech. So telling you what I'm going to tell you, providing an explanation in a strongly thematic way that's clear, concise, and a little bit outside of what you would have found, a little bit non-obvious, and then closing it all up so that it wraps together into a nice package. I'd like for an hour later for you to be able to tell me what I told you and how it had an impact on you. And so finding that thematic tie all the way through is something that I'm also working on. One other thing that I have continuously contemplated and I'm not sure how to do successfully is to choose topics that are of value to my audience. That's something that's really important to me. When I give speeches in real life, I'd be most interested in giving impact speeches, things for nonprofits, inspirational speeches as a business leader. And so making sure that whatever I pick is something somebody's interested in hearing is a skill that I'm working on, and I think is harder when you give lots of speeches, just because you're giving a speech without necessarily a purpose behind that speech. And so finding purpose inside of the repetition of speech giving is something I'm working on as well. Thank you.
All right. Very good. All right. So with that, we will now be transitioning to our general evaluator, who will give us an evaluation of the evaluators and an evaluation of this meeting, in addition to calling on the duty masters. For that, I will now return control over to Gautam. But I also just want to mention that Hannah, who's going to be our ballot counter for today, did send a URL link in the chat. Please click on it and vote for the best, most improved speaker, evaluator, and table topics person.
Thank you, Chaji. In the interest of time, I would like to call upon our timer of the day today, Vaimi, to give us a report.
Yes, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmaster, I'm going to just read off the time. Elvira spoke for 5 minutes and 29 seconds. Myself, 6:52. Jose, 6:52. In the evaluation, Georgie, 3:15. Gautam, 2:48. Hannah, 2:49. In the table topics, I spoke for 149, Gautam 210, Jose 127, Georgie 219, Elvira 145, Hannah 155, and Zaina 201. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Vaimi. We have a grammarian today. It's Georgie. Georgie, would you like to give us a report on that?
Yes, let's see. With respect to Waming, you said more better expert at public speaking. I think you just need more expert or become more expert. Let's see. Gautam, I make myself LOL or I make myself lol, I think is what you said, but I'm not, I know some people use the abbreviation and speak, I just wasn't sure about it. So that, there's nothing wrong with LOL or lol, it's just, sometimes it's just not clear to me what, if that's something I heard or if I misheard it. Let's see. Mark myself as a TEDx speaker. Let's see, I thought that was an interesting use of the word. Let's see. I liked Jose talking about growth patterns in Toastmasters, and you went through like different ones. Filling the time to supply dull moments with Toastmaster was a new one I hadn't thought about before. Elvira, I thought I wasn't good enough for Toastmasters. Man, that just made me sad. No, don't think like that. And I will never cheat. No. Too negative. Let's make it more positive, please. Let's see. Hannah, enhancing my natural ability and the passionate speaker. I thought that was really good use of words. Let's see. Oh, Zaina, hold stillness in my hands. I thought that was really good. And also a little bit non-obvious. That's my report for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgie. We have our word master of the day today. That's Vaimi.
Yes, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, everyone used the word except Elvira. I didn't quite hear that, but otherwise, good use. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaimi. We have a joke master, Hannah. Do you have any jokes for us?
Oh, I did not. Shoot, I didn't get a time to look one up,
All right.
but I don't know if somebody has one. I can
No
look one
worries.
up.
We have our counter report. In the meantime, can someone find a joke for the day today? I'm happy to.
Zaina, you want to practice your jokes, right?
Absolutely.
All right. I can give the evaluation, and in the meantime, Hannah, Zaina can prepare for the jokes. We are excited to hear that. All right.
Oh, one more.
We have our counter report.
Yes.
That's Jose.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Our counter report. Everybody did very well. Very minimal as or extraneous words. Elvira had 3. Wyoming, I didn't detect anything. Godam, nothing. Georgie, just 1. Jose, I did. Couple. Zaina, nothing. And then Hannah, nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. All right. So overall, the meeting went well. However, I do noticed we were missing the deadline, like the time, 2 minutes duration, whether it is in a table topics or whether during the evaluation. So I would like everyone to look at the timer grid that Wyoming is running when you are giving a speech, when you're talking about table topics or giving an evaluation, to try to fix it. Yes, Wyoming.
I think we have a 30-second grace, so I think everyone was within time, but anyway.
Yep. So you should be able to see that there is a timer within the grid. You can change it into the gallery view and you can see it.
Yeah. So I kind of screwed up the schedule as Toastmaster, and also I probably should remind people about the times. I'm really bad about that.
No worries,
I'll work
Georgie.
better next time.
Yep, no worries. And also, when we didn't call upon our duty master of the day today when we start the meeting, just want to confirm everyone aware of their role and they are ready to take it. That's our honor command. And I don't see any major changes or any major suggestion, but overall it went well, and we had hope we can complete it on time. We have 5 minutes left. So I would like to hand it over to our president today, Hannah.
Thank you, Gautam, for that general evaluation. Zaina, I didn't know if you have a quick joke, but we're also missing a couple votes, so if everyone can vote so I can announce the winners.
And we can also do sign-ups as well as we're waiting, if need be.
Yep.
I think if Zaina is ready, she can go for a joke.
To the optimist, the glass is half full. To the pessimist, the glass is half empty. But to the engineer, the glass is twice as big as it needs to be.
Awesome joke, Zaina. Thank you. Thank you for that laugh. I know that's very relevant. All right, so let me refresh one more time and then announce the winners, and then we'll also fill roles. So, okay. All right, yeah, I think we can move forward with announcing the winners. So please give a drum roll before we also assign roles towards the end. But round of applause, drum roll, please, to Best Table Topics Master, Gautam. Gautam, congratulations as Best Table Topics Master this morning. Best Evaluator, please give a drum roll, please, to Georgie. Georgie, Best Evaluator this morning. Excellent job, Georgie. And we have a Best Speaker. Now, it was a fierce competition between these two speakers. So we just also want to honor both Wai-Ming and Elvira. But Wai-Ming was the winner by a hair, but Elvira very close. So excellent job this morning, Elvira. Congratulations, guys. And we can fill roles for next week. Does anybody want to be a Table Topics Master? I mean, Toastmaster, sorry. Or Table Topics Master.
I'll take
those first. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, which one for who? So Jose, do you want to be Toastmaster or Table Topics Master? Or I think also Gautam and White.
Toastmaster. Yeah.
Jose? Okay.
Yes.
Table Topics, was it Gautam or Wai-Ming? Gautam?
Yep, sure.
Yeah, okay.
I would like to organize. I would like to learn the organizational skills. So I thought of opting for Toastmaster. That's fine.
Oh no!
Sure.
Give it to Gautam.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Give
Sure.
it to Gautam. Yeah. Okay.
I feel like
Okay.
these days
Sure.
I'm hosting
Excellent.
a lot of meetings, so I want to be a
Okay.
facilitator here. So I want to learn that.
Excellent.
Hmm.
A great place to learn Gautam. So Gautam, Toastmaster, and then who wants to be Table Topics then?
Elvira, you are in mute.
Yeah, I can try.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
I can
Oh, what? Okay.
fix Master.
It's an easy one, so don't worry. All right, and then speakers. I think let me look at the sign-up sheet to make sure.
We don't have any right now, although we do have Wai-Ming as backup.
Okay.
I
So
can
who
be
wants
the
to speak for
speaker.
next? Georgie. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm gonna sign up for backup. I have to look at my schedule for next week.
Okay.
Jose, did you want to speak for next week as well, or Zaina?
I'll just evaluate. Yeah.
Jose,
Yeah, I'll just
evaluate.
evaluate. Yeah.
Excellent.
I won't be here next week, so I'm not going to be able to choose.
Got it. Okay. I can put myself as evaluator too. All right. Okay. Yeah, it looks like somebody's already updating.
Yeah, I'm updating.
Okay,
Or
I see it.
Cyril's
All right,
updating.
thank you.
Do we have anyone else
right.
who'd like to be a speaker? Okay.
I could
Oh, I
speak,
mean, I
but,
think you're on mute.
Well, you already, you're backup speaker. I mean, do you want to be
Speaker, so-
confirmed as a speaker or?
if people don't want to speak, then I would take the slot, yes.
Okay. Well, we'll double check with Hannah. So, so far it's me, and then maybe Hannah, maybe Wai-Ming. We'll see.
Yeah, I have a speech, or I will come up with a speech.
So we can confirm you and Wai-Ming, and then I can be backup
Oh, yeah.
or speaker 3.
That's a good idea. Okay, we'll do that.
Does anybody have any announcements before we take a picture? Take a quick picture, guys. Hold on 1 second.
I think we're getting into officer season. So towards the end of the month, we're going to think about filling the officer roles. We've got some people do it already, but obviously if anyone is interested in expanding, their leadership roles and skills, I will give you one hint. It's one thing to lead people when they're getting paid a salary. It's a very different thing when they're doing it as a volunteer on the side. So it really stretches your leadership skills.
Absolutely, 100%, Georgie.
Okay.
All right, so let's take a picture real quick. 1, 2, everybody smile. All right, excellent. It doesn't make a noise, but I saved it.
Yay. Okay. All right.
All right, excellent.
So I guess
right,
that's
other than that-
I'm going to stop recording. I hope.
Have a good morning. Have a good productive morning if you got to